Look at the change in your pocket right now. Not the bills, the pennies. What if one of them wasn't just a penny? What if one of them it was a life-changing fortune that's been sitting quietly in plain sight for over a century? Most people spend these coins every single day. They never realize they're handing away thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before you drop another cent into a vending machine or leave it on a counter, stop. What you're about to read will change the way you see every old penny from now on. The 1910 no mint mark penny, a silent fortune. At first glance, it looks like any other worn Lincoln cent, dark, softened by time, maybe even forgotten inside a drawer for decades. But the moment a trained coin collector sees that date, 1910 with no mint mark underneath, everything changes. That small detail tells a massive story. Why 1910 matters. America in 1910 was transforming. Industrial growth was exploding. Economic pressure was mounting. And the U.S. Mint was struggling to keep up with demand for coins. That pressure created inconsistencies. And those inconsistencies are exact what collectors obsess over today. This specific coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. No mint mark equals Philadelphia. At the time, Philadelphia was pushing out millions of coins under intense demand. Dies were overused. Quality control wasn't perfect. Because of that, coins that survived in very fine condition today are incredibly rare. What to look for. Obverse front. Abraham Lincoln's profile. Strong but worn. The word liberty still visible. The date in 1910 clear but softened. In God we trust arches across the top. Reverse back. The classic wheat. Design 2 wheat stalks framing 1 cent. And United States of America. Specs 3.11 grams. 19毫米 diameter. 1.52毫米 thick. Composition 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc. That high copper content gives it a deep brown tone. That tone is not damage. It's originality. It's age. It's authenticity. Never clean this coin. Cleaning destroys its value instantly. The dark surface is exactly what collectors want. Shocking value. A 1910 Lincoln penny with no mint mark in very fine condition has reached auction. Values of up to $350,000. Yes, a single penny. And here's the painful truth. Coins like this are still out there sitting in jars. Draws, old collections, even pocket change. People are still spending them, losing them, ignoring them. Every time that happens, a piece of hidden wealth disappears forever. The 1920 no mint mark penny. Post-war pressure. Industries were booming. Money was moving fast. That pressure created rarity. What makes the 1920 penny special? No mint mark equals Philadelphia origin. Dies were overused and worn down. Tiny imperfections in the strike are now highly collectible. In very fine condition, Lincoln's hair details are still visible. The wheat lines on the reverse are clear. The date 1920 is your trigger point. Most 1920 pennies were heavily circulated used in markets. Railroads, factories, very few were preserved. That's why finding one today in very fine condition feels almost unreal. Value. A 1920 no mint mark. Penny in very fine condition has reached auction values around. Again, a single penny. The 1928 no mint mark penny. On the edge of the Great Depression. The year 1928 came right before the Great Depression. The economy looked strong on the surface, but underneath pressure was building. The Philadelphia Mint pushed production hard and once again. Small details started slipping. Why collectors want it. No mint mark equals Philadelphia. Dies were overworked, creating subtle variations. Surviving very fine examples are hard to find. The reverse wheat design represents stability and growth right before one of America's greatest economic collapses. That irony adds emotional weight for collectors. Value. A 1928 no mint mark. Penny in very fine condition has reached auction values around. Most people would toss this coin into loose change. That's $1 million mistake. The 1939 no mint mark penny, a world on edge. By 1939, Europe was sliding into World War II. The U.S. hadn't entered yet. But the pressure was building. Resources were tight. The mint operated under urgency and uncertainty. That environment didn't produce perfection. It produced rarity. What to know? Philadelphia Mint no mint mark. Dies were reused longer than they should have been. Details softened. Tiny inconsistencies formed. In fine condition, Lincoln's hair is softer, his cheeks slightly flattened, but the wheat lines on the reverse are still visible. That balance between circulation and survival is exactly what collectors love. Value. A 1939 no mint mark. Penny in fine condition has reached auction values around the 1954D. Penny. The Denver Surprise. Now let's talk about a coin with a mint mark. The 1954D, Lincoln Penny. By 1954, America was deep into post-war expansion. The Denver Mint, that small D beneath the date, was working hard to keep up, but high speed often means less precision. Why the DE matters. The D mint mark tells you this coin came from Denver. During that time, dies were pushed hard, creating small variations. Those variations are now collectible. In fine condition, you'll see clear signs of circulation, worn hair, flattened cheek, but the overall design remains strong. The wheat reverse still shows its lines, though softened. Value. A. D. Penny in fine condition has reached auction values. Around a Shibawan Mayan. That tiny letter D changes everything. The 1940 no mint mark penny. Rising tension. The year 1940. The world was already at war. The U.S. hadn't entered yet, but the tension was real. The Philadelphia Mint was preparing for uncertainty. What to look for. No mint mark equals Philadelphia. Dies were used longer. Production lines moved faster. Subtle variations in strike quality. In very fine condition, Lincoln's hair detail and jawline are still defined. The wheat lines on the reverse are sharp enough to catch your eye. That clarity is rare because most 1940 pennies were used heavily. Value. A 1940 no mint mark. Penny in very fine condition has reached market values. Around Arsha Yuan Mayan. The 1946D penny. Post-war return. After World War II, America transitioned from wartime production to peacetime growth. The 1946D penny came from the Denver Mint during that messy, fast-moving transition. Why? It's valuable. The D mint mark ties it to Denver's post-war production. The mint returned to bronze composition after wartime changes. Dies had wear. Equipment was recovering. Speed was the focus. In fine condition, Lincoln's portrait is softened but strong. The wheat lines are visible, and that small D beneath the date is the key. Value. A. Ijo Silu. D. Penny in fine condition has reached market values. Around Arjuan Mayan. The 1953D penny quietly disappearing. The Ijo Sen D. Penny's the kind of coin people. Ignorant. That's exactly why it's slipping away. The details. Denver Mint D mint mark. Post-war expansion meant speed over perfection. Dies wore down. Details softened. In fine condition, the wheat lines are visible but soft. The date and mint mark are clear. Collectors love this coin because it represents a disappearing piece of everyday American history. Value. A. Ijo D. Penny in fine condition has reached market values. Around a Shibawan Mayan. The 1942 no mint mark penny. A rare survivor. The year 1942. The U.S. had just entered World War II. Copper was being diverted for military use. The mint operated under extreme pressure. Why it's special? No mint mark equals Philadelphia. Dies were under stress. Tiny variations in strike quality. In fine condition, Lincoln's features remain visible. The wheat lines are discernible, and the natural brown toning is critical. Never clean it. Value. A 1942 no mint mark. Penny in fine condition has reached market levels. Around Arsharwan Mayan. The 1957 no mint mark penny, the final hidden fortune. We end with 1957, post-war prosperity. Baby boomers grown up, billions of pennies produced. But a tiny fraction survived in fine condition. What to look for? No mint mark equals Philadelphia. High volume production meant subtle variations. The wheat reverse lines are still visible in fine condition. This coin doesn't look flashy. That's the trap. Value. A 1957 note mark. Penny in fine condition has reached auction values around. Still life-changing. Still overlooked every single day. Critical warnings read this before you check your coins. Never clean a coin. Not with soap, not with polish, not with anything. Cleaning destroys the original surface and natural toning, which is exactly what collectors pay for. Condition is everything. A cleaned or scratched coin is worth a fraction of an untouched one. Get professional grading. Experts verify authenticity, condition, and true market value. Don't guess. Handle with care. Hold coins by the edges. Use soft gloves if possible. Avoid fingerprints. What you should check right now. Date. Look for 1910, 1920, 1928, 1939, 1940, 1942, 1946, 1953, 1954, 1957. Mint mark. No mark, no you Philadelphia. AD equals Denver. And S equals a San Francisco rare in some years. Toning. Does the coin have a natural brown or darker aged tone? That's good. Where are Lincoln's features still visible? Can you see the wheat lines on the back? If any of these coins look promising, stop. Don't spend them. Don't clean them. Get them evaluated. Final thoughts. We've uncovered 10 coins today. Each one hides in plain sight. Each one carries a story, a piece of American history, and a silent fortune that most people walk right past. The shocking truth is this: these coins are still out there, in jars, in drawers, in old collections, even in pocket change. People are spending them every single day, not knowing they're giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars. Don't be that person. Check every penny. Handle them with care. Never clean them. And remember, hidden treasure isn't always shiny. Sometimes it's old, dark, and